Welcome to NTD News Today.
Here are our top stories.
It's Super Tuesday today, but it's not just the presidential election at stake. Many down-ballot races could play an outsized role in determining the country's future.
Polling stations are opening in states across the nation. What former President Trump and President Biden are saying about Super Tuesday.
The defense offers a new witness in the Georgia case to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. The timeline of her relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade called into question again.
A former Chinese executive is demanding that first son Hunter Biden return $1 million given to him for legal services. Find out why.
The border battle between Texas and the Biden administration continues. Now, the nation's highest court has put a halt on the law that would have allowed Texas to arrest and detain illegal immigrants.
A new United Nations report showing credible evidence that sexual violence took place during the Hamas October 7th attacks. The report also highlighting significant information about hostages still in captivity.
This is NTD News Today, live from our NTD Global Headquarters. Here are Stephanie Cox and Chris Beers.
Hi, I'm Kevin Hogan sitting in for Chris Beers today.
And to begin the show, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously yesterday that states cannot remove Trump from their ballots under the so-called insurrection clause of the U.S. Constitution.
Justices reversed the Colorado decision to remove Trump from the state's primary ballot. The High Court concluded it's up to Congress, not states, to enforce and set rules on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
The order came just in time for Super Tuesday today, when over a dozen states hold their primary elections. NTD's Jeremy Sandberg has reactions to the ruling.
Trump from Mar-a-Lago Monday praised the Supreme Court's decision as a unifying factor that he believes will go a long way towards bringing the country together.
Essentially, you cannot take somebody out of a race because an opponent would like to have it that way.
The former president says he hopes the Supreme Court will grant him presidential immunity in his appeal to his federal J6 case. He says a president needs full immunity to have courage to make hard decisions without fear of wrongful prosecution.
A president shouldn't have that on his mind, and he has to have a free and clear mind when he makes very big decisions.
Trump warns without immunity, the presidency could become a ceremonial position.
Look, I'm trying to defeat Donald Trump fair and square.
Presidential candidate Nikki Haley says she's happy with the court's ruling and believes it's best for voters to decide at the ballot box.
We don't want the chaos of certain states or secretaries of state saying that they like someone or don't like someone and want to take them off the ballot. I trust the American people. I think at the end of the day, they will decide who they want to lead this country.
Colorado Secretary of State Janet Griswold says she's disappointed but will uphold the High Court's decision.
We believe that it's up to Colorado or any state to determine whether to disqualify oath-breaking insurrectionists from our ballots.
Maine's Secretary of State also withdrew her decision to ban Trump from the ballot after the ruling. Justices noted in their opinion existing federal law and statute that disqualifies an individual from office if convicted of insurrection, and warned allowing states to each make different rules on eligibility could create chaos in elections. President Biden's campaign told MSNBC it doesn't really care about the ruling and is focused on beating Trump at the ballot box. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
And following the Supreme Court's ruling, a Democrat-led effort is underway in the House to remove him. Speaking to CNN, Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin revealed he's working with fellow Representatives Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, Eric Swalwell, and other Democrats to pass legislation aimed at removing Trump from the ballot at the federal level.
I am working with a number of my colleagues, including Debbie Wasserman-Schultz and Eric Swalwell, to revive legislation that we had to set up a process by which we could determine that someone who committed insurrection is disqualified by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
And here to discuss this and more, we have David Gelman, criminal defense attorney and a former federal prosecutor. David, welcome. To begin with, any Democrat-led bill to remove Trump will be stonewalled in the House. So what's the likely strategy on the Democrats' part here?
You know, they're just putting up a Hail Mary. It's just one after another, it seems like. And every time they do it, they keep getting shellacked, if you will. I really don't know why they keep doing this, because every time they do it, it seems to make President Trump stronger and stronger. And it really is ticking off the American people, even people that don't like President Trump. And, look, let's be honest, there are people that don't like him. They are seeing that the Democrats are playing dirty and they're doing things that the founding fathers did not ever want to have happen in this country to begin with. So by doing this, by Jamie Raskin just going to the well again and again and again, they're really just putting themselves in a hole.
And this speaks to one point, which is the Supreme Court is still deciding whether Trump has presidential immunity. And it's also still disputed whether Trump's actions surrounding January 6th meet the legal criteria of inciting an insurrection, which is what efforts to take him off the ballot have, of course, depended on. Given this, what legal grounds does this group of Democrats have, if anything, do you think, to legislate Trump off the ballot at the federal level?
Well, look, the Supreme Court yesterday, in their historic ruling, which was 9-0, nobody thought that would even occur. Everybody, in my opinion, thought it was going to be a 7-3, 8-2 ruling. So 9-0 was, again, unprecedented, showing that the federal government, not the states, not the federal government, I'm sorry, Congress, has the power to take the president off. But Jamie Raskin and these minority, if you will, of Democrats, they are taking it a step further, really, and they're saying that, okay, the Supreme Court is saying that we have the power to take President Trump off the ballot. That's not really what the United States Supreme Court is saying. They're saying that, yes, the states do not have the power to take the president off the ballot, but the Congress has the power to do it only if certain things happen. President Trump has never been charged with insurrection. President Trump has never been convicted of insurrection. So Jamie Raskin and all of these Democrats, or the few Democrats really, are trying to really put the cart before the horse, if you will. So again, they're trying to do things that are going around the will of the American people. Let the American people vote for the President of the United States, not the Congress, if you will. All right, not one person in Colorado, not one person in Maine, or one person in Illinois. Let the American people vote.
All right. And on a different note, in the Georgia election case against Trump, one of the defense attorneys who spearheaded the hearing that was looking into Fani Willis's potential misconduct, she's set to testify before a Georgia Senate committee, which is also investigating those allegations. What do you expect to happen there?
Well, that's a good one. Ashley Merchant, she's going to be testifying, and she has a lot of information regarding Fani Willis and her mistruths, if you will. Fani Willis this whole time has really just stepped on herself one time after another with, lying about her relationship with Nathan Wade and what she did or did not do. She said that she was in a relationship in 22, not 2019, where multiple individuals have said that the relationship started. Well, that would be a big deal because, she hired Nathan Wade and his law firm in 21, I believe, 22, to be the special prosecutor to go after Donald Trump. Well, she then would have benefited from that relationship. They went on different cruises, the vacations, where the government, if you will, paid for Nathan Wade, which in turn then paid for her vacations. And then today, there was pretty much a bombshell came out from a co-defendant of Donald Trump showing that another prosecutor in Cobb County has information showing that Nathan Wade's former partner, Mr. Bradley, who was on the stand, as we remember, about a week ago, he was in her office, and Fani Willis on the phone with Mr. Bradley said, "Hey, be quiet, don't talk to anybody about this. So she may be testifying even again in court. This is like a soap opera.
Right. Yeah, it has been quite dramatic so far. It'll be quite interesting to see what this Georgia Senate inquiry leads to as well. But thank you so much, David Gelman, criminal defense attorney and former federal prosecutor. Always great to speak with you.
Thanks for having me.
And Super Tuesday is here, the biggest day nationwide for primary elections and caucuses, before the final contest, of course, in November.
NTD's Jeremy Sandberg has more on what to expect today from this crucial date on the election calendar.
15 states and 1 territory, 865 delegates to be won for Republicans, and over 1,400 for Democrats. That's what's at stake on Super Tuesday. Historically, Super Tuesday has been a barometer to measure the nation's opinion on each of the candidates. This year, President Biden and former President Trump are clear favorites. Trump already has 273 delegates, compared to former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley's 43. Biden has 206. A March 2nd poll from Siena College and the New York Times showed Trump well ahead of Haley, 77% to 20% among registered Republicans. An aggregate of polls from Real Clear Politics also shows the former president is leading Haley by 79% to 15%. But Haley seems undeterred by the numbers and calls for her to drop out. Just on Monday, she was in Texas rallying supporters.
Courage for me to run, and courage for every one of you to know. Don't complain about what happens in a general election if you don't play in this primary. It matters. It matters.
I am so proud of her staying in the race after all of these defeats.
I thought she was great. I think she is the only one who can win the general election.
Meanwhile, Trump picked up another win on Monday, this time in the North Dakota caucuses. While Super Tuesday may not throw up many surprises as far as each party's presidential nominee is concerned, it could indicate what to expect come November. Biden may have the backing of the Democratic establishment, but he's losing support among some progressives, as well as some Muslim Americans. After facing a record uncommitted vote in the swing state of Michigan, Biden has seen another such movement in Minnesota. The Abandon Biden movement said there would be further protests against the president with the aim of stopping the Israel-Hamas war. The organizers expect at least 10,000 uncommitted votes in the state's Democratic primary.
He'll still be the nominee the way it looks like now, so there's no risk to them that somehow he's not. But it is a protest vote because we want as many people to come out and say to President Biden that we're uncommitted because of his policy on Gaza.
Another Times Siena poll from late February indicated that Trump is currently beating Biden in terms of popularity. Democratic voters were found to be much less enthusiastic about Biden when compared to Republicans and Trump. The national survey showed that if an election were held today, Trump would come out ahead of Biden. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
And of course, all eyes are on the presidential candidates today, but there are also a lot of other races lower on the ballot. NTD's Daniel Monahan has more on several key Senate, House, and gubernatorial contests across various states.
In California, candidates will vie for an open Senate seat left after Senator Dianne Feinstein's exit. But the primaries for the House in the state, where Republicans are defending a razor-thin majority, are by far the most important for the balance of power in Washington. Democrats need a net gain of 4 seats to flip the House. And in California alone, the party is targeting 7 GOP-held seats. In Texas, a showdown is brewing in the Democratic primary over who will challenge Senator Ted Cruz. Cruz won by just 3 points in 2018, which leads some to believe tides could be shifting in the Lone Star State. In the same state, House Speaker Dade Phelan faces challenges after his involvement in the impeachment effort against State Attorney General Ken Paxton. The race for governor in North Carolina has caught people's attention. With term-limited Democratic Governor Roy Cooper on his way out, all eyes are on who will win his chair. Alabama's GOP primary features incumbent Congress members Jerry Carl and Barry Moore in the 1st District. They're now in the same district after a court-ordered redistricting. California Congressman David Valadao is one of only 2 left in Congress who voted to impeach Trump. He faces potential challenges in a primary for the 22nd District. And North Carolina's Attorney General primary sees House Freedom Caucus member Representative Dan Bishop facing off against Representative Jeff Jackson running for the open seat. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
And polls have already opened in several states. Voting will continue throughout the day until polls begin to close starting from 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Voters in Virginia began filling out ballots as soon as polls opened at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Virginia is an open primary state that allows registered voters to participate in either primary.
And in many other states, like North Carolina, primaries are open to unaffiliated voters. That could boost Haley's results. She has relative strength with independent voters compared to Trump.
Trump posted on Truth Social, Super Tuesday, a really big deal. Please get out and vote.
Biden posted on X, if you're in a Super Tuesday state or territory, polls are starting to open. Now is the time to make your voice heard. And for more on today's primaries, NTD News will be covering all the action. We have a lot prepared for you, including special guests, on-the-ground coverage, and the Data Hub. Join Steve Lance and Tiffany Meyer on The Nation Decides 2024 live tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. And the Democratic National Committee is accusing the super PAC backing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of violating campaign finance law. The DNC filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission yesterday. It alleges the super PAC failed to disclose a $10 million loan from a prominent donor.
The action follows an earlier complaint by the DNC. It alleged illegal coordination between the super PAC and Kennedy's campaign to get Kennedy on the ballot in some states.
One person was killed and several injured when a fire broke out at a warehouse in a Detroit suburb. Police say explosions sent debris as far as a mile away. More in a moment here on NTD News Today.
I'm Steve Lance. Join me live for special coverage of the 2024 State of the Union Address and the Republican response. A crisis on the southern border, inflation soaring, and global conflicts threatening the free world. President Biden's job approval more consequential than ever this election year. Join us Thursday, March 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on NTD News.
We all know that words have power. They set things in motion
and make us happy or sad.
But there's one word that stands out because when people say it, lives are changed.
It's not a big word. It's itsy bitsy.
It's only 3 little letters.
But when you say it, the life of a kid like me can be changed.
So, what is this special word?
It may surprise you.
It's yes.
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 Yes to becoming a monthly supporter of Shriners Hospitals for Children.
That's right. Your monthly support allows the doctors and nurses at Shriners Hospitals for Children to give the most amazing care anywhere and change the lives of kids like me.
And me.
And me.
Because people like you have said yes. Now I can play football.
And I can play catch.
And I can walk.
So what do you say? Will you say yes right now?
It's so easy.
All you have to do is pick up the phone or go to loveshriners.org right now and say yes. When you say yes to giving just $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a reminder of all the kids you're helping every day. My life is filled with possibility because of the monthly support of people just like you who called the number on your screen and said yes.
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 Your yes is making a difference in my life and the lives of so many other kids like me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, call again or go to loveshriners.org to say yes right away.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing. There's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. All for just 3 easy payments of $43. Call or click right now.
Join us on NTD Good Morning because we want you to stay informed.
Kickstart your morning with the latest you missed overnight.
Right, and don't forget that inspiration.
Absolutely, so let's shine some light on the good news too.
Tune in every weekday morning to NTD News.
Senate GOP whip John Thune put his name in the running to be the next leader of his party. Thune announced plans to run for the position on Monday. Senator Mitch McConnell, who's held that position since 2007, announced he's stepping down later this year.
Thune will face at least some competition. Last week, former Whip John Cornyn of Texas announced he's running for the position. Other potential hopefuls include Senators John Barrasso, Rick Scott, and Steve Daines.
Republican Senator Rick Scott of Florida met with former President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago on Monday night. He shared a picture of the two of them on social media.
The meeting comes as Scott teases making what he calls a major announcement in Washington, D.C. today. It's unknown what the announcement will be, but it comes as the race for Senate Republican leader kicks into high gear.
Scott previously lost to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell in a challenge to his position after the 2022 midterms.
A new witness has come forward regarding the special prosecutor in the Georgia election case. District Attorney Cindy Lee Yeager is prepared to testify that Nathan Wade lied about the timeline of his relationship with Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis.
Wade says the relationship started in 2022, but Yeager asserts it actually started in 2019. This discrepancy raises questions about the integrity of the prosecutor's appointment and his handling of Trump's case.
In a court filing on Monday, attorneys for Trump co-defendant David Schaefer suggested that Yeager discussed conversations she had with Terrence Bradley, who was Wade's former divorce attorney. Yeager asserts that Bradley revealed the earlier beginning of the relationship between Willis and Wade.
And first son Hunter Biden back in the spotlight over payments he allegedly received from China. The younger Biden reportedly got $1 million from Chinese firm CEFC for legal representation of its employee, Dr. Patrick Ho, who now wants it back. Ho is threatening legal action unless reimbursed, claiming Biden provided no legal services.
A letter from Ho's law firm demands termination of the attorney-client agreement and repayment within 7 days.
Funds were transferred from CEFC to China to a joint venture firm, Hudson West III, and then to Hunter Biden's private firm, Owasco.
Ho was convicted for bribery in 2019. He served a 3-year sentence before being deported to Hong Kong. The Supreme Court has temporarily frozen enforcement of the controversial immigration law in Texas until at least next week. NTD's Daniel Monahan has more on the ruling and its implications.
Monday's decision comes after the Biden administration filed an emergency application with the High Court earlier in the day to try to block the law from taking effect. Texas Senate Bill 4 was signed into law in December by Governor Greg Abbott. It allows state law enforcement to arrest and detain people they suspect of entering the country illegally. It would also let state judges order people to leave the country, with prison sentences up to 20 years for those who refuse to comply. Abbott and other state officials blame President Biden for a record increase in illegal migration. After the High Court issued its order, Abbott posted a video on X showing new border wall construction underway, writing, "We will use every tool and strategy to secure our border until President Biden fulfills his constitutional duty to enforce federal immigration laws already on the books." Immigration advocates have criticized the law, citing their fears of increased racial profiling in Texas, where Latinos represent 40% of the population. The Supreme Court's temporary pause will hold until March 13th, instead of the law going into effect on March 10th. This break now gives the court additional time to review the case. Last week, a federal judge in Texas blocked the state from implementing the law. In his ruling, he wrote that allowing the Texas measure to take effect could open the gates for other states to pass their own versions of immigration law. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
And a new ruling yesterday on cross-sex procedures, including hormones and body-altering surgeries. The U.S. District Court in North Dakota ruled against the Biden administration's requirement for religious organizations and healthcare providers to cover such procedures. The Alliance Defending Freedom represented the Christian Employers Alliance in that case. It challenged the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's interpretation of Title VII, which prohibits employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. It also challenged the administration's argument that sex includes gender identity.
The court found that these mandates would impose significant financial penalties on organizations holding sincere religious beliefs, constituting a substantial burden. The Christian Employers Alliance hailed the ruling, emphasizing the importance of preserving religious freedom. A massive fire broke out at a suburban Detroit warehouse yesterday, causing multiple explosions and killing one person. Police in Sinton Township say the explosion sent debris as far as a mile away. One 19-year-old died after being struck by a flying canister, and a firefighter was injured by an exploding canister. Police say a bystander also suffered minor injuries.
Authorities are investigating the cause of the fire. Emergency services urged residents to stay indoors late Monday due to unknown health effects from the smoke. Sinton County Fire Chief Tim Duncan said this morning that there was no danger to the community. FAA says they've found multiple quality control issues at Boeing following a 6-week audit. The audit came after the in-flight door plug blowout on an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 in January.
The FAA gave Boeing 90 days to produce a quality improvement plan to fix the issues and address their findings. Boeing did not immediately comment on the FAA's most recent statement, but in January, CEO David Calhoun conceded that Boeing needs to improve its quality controls. 4 former Twitter executives are suing Elon Musk over unpaid severance. The lawsuit includes the company's former CEO, CFO, chief legal officer, and former general counsel. NTD's Don Ma has the report.
Elon Musk is being sued for $128 million. 4 ex-Twitter executives, including former chief executive officer Parag Agrawal, accused company owner Musk for allegedly failing to pay their severance payments worth as much. The 4 ex-executives were fired after Elon Musk took over Twitter back in 2022. When he bought Twitter for $44 billion, he fired Parag Agrawal, its chief executive, Ned Segal, its chief financial officer, Vijaya Gadde, its head of legal and policy, and Sean Edgett, its general counsel. The lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. It claims that the executives had clauses in their contracts saying that they could receive severance if Twitter was no longer a public company. Therefore, when Musk took the company private in October 2022, they should be entitled to the payments. However, according to Musk at the time, he could fire the executives for a specific reason, misconduct, for example, to avoid paying them severance. And this is not the first time that X, formerly known as Twitter, has faced lawsuits in recent months. In October, Agrawal, Gadde, and other former executives won a ruling from a Delaware judge requiring X to pay $1.1 million in legal expenses they incurred when they worked for the company. And in early December, X failed in court-ordered mediation to resolve claims by thousands of former Twitter employees who say they were cheated of severance pay. Don Ma, NTD News.
Up ahead, the U.S. urging all Americans to leave Haiti as the security situation in the country worsens. That's after gang members stormed the country's prisons, freeing thousands of inmates.
The United Nations has released a report showing credible evidence that sexual violence took place during the Hamas October 7th attacks. And the report also highlights significant information about the hostages who are still in captivity. We'll have those details for you soon when we return.
First time I came in here was Monday, and today is Thursday. I've had 2 surgeries and am doing fantastic. I'm still in shock that I can walk. That's all within 4 days. In 4th grade, I was diagnosed with scoliosis. I had 70 and 60-degree curvatures. Went to Shriners Hospital in LA. It's been fused ever since. I noticed a lot of pain going down my left buttock into my thighs and into my calf. I could be standing there and my legs would just go out. I went through pain management for 2.5 years, and the pain management specialist told me there was nothing more he could do for me. We actually did our own research, and next thing I know, Dr. Benatti called and he told me immediately over the phone what my issue was without even seeing me. I was in a twilight stage during surgery, and you can actually say, where are you feeling that pain? And it immediately stops.
Hold the leg up there. No pain here? No. No pain here? No. No pain on the butt? No.
All of a sudden, they're all, do you want to get up and walk? Well, I couldn't walk before, and I got up and I just started crying because I had no pain. And I had all my weight on my left leg and on my right leg, and I walked a straight line with no assistance, no falling, no grabbing onto the walls, nothing. I held my own weight. And that's the first time in months that I was able to walk by myself.
Benatti succeeds where others fail. For more stories like these and the rest of our program, check out American Medicine Today, featuring cutting-edge medical and science innovators and a medical professional's insight on political and social issues plaguing our nation and healthcare. American Medicine Today, Saturdays 6 and Sundays at 9 on NTD Television and other streaming platforms.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing, there's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. All for just 3 easy payments of $43. Call or click right now.
Vice President Kamala Harris and other top administration officials met with Israeli War Cabinet member Benny Gantz at the White House yesterday. Gantz came to Washington without approval from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. White House officials said Gantz asked for the meeting and said they believed it was important to meet him despite Netanyahu's objections. Harris said discussions would cover hostages, humanitarian aid, and a possible 6-week ceasefire.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says the administration has been dealing with all members of Israel's war cabinet and sees the meeting as a natural outgrowth of discussions. Kirby said the administration would not turn away that opportunity.
Gantz also met with White House NSC advisor Jake Sullivan, Middle East coordinator Brett McGurk, and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He's set to meet with Secretary of State Antony Blinken today.
The United Nations has released a report which says there were reasonable grounds to believe that sexual violence took place during the October 7th massacre. Here to share more of the details of this report is NTD reporter Jason Perry. Jason, what is the significance of this report?
Well, this report is significant because Israeli officials have been calling on the UN to acknowledge sexual violence that allegedly took place during the October 7th attack, but the United Nations hasn't done so until recently. Israel's president said the UN's report is of immense importance, and he said the world must react strongly by condemning and punishing Hamas. On the other hand, Hamas has denied the allegations of sexual violence.
And how did the United Nations reach the conclusion that there likely was sexual violence that took place on October 7th?
Well, the UN sent a team to Israel for about 2 weeks between January and February. And this team analyzed and verified information on evidence and sexual violence linked to the October 7th terrorist attack. And during this time, they interviewed witnesses and survivors of the attack. They also reviewed over 50 hours of footage from the attacks. They concluded that there was convincing and credible evidence that sexual violence took place during the October 7th terrorist attack. Now, one thing about this report is that some of the details are quite graphic, so I won't discuss those details now, but viewers are free to read the report on the UN's website.
So Jason, was there anything else to this report that stood out to you?
Now, sadly, the report also showed evidence that it looks like the hostages that are still in captivity, there's sexual violence happening against them as well. Now, many people are hoping for a ceasefire soon, that these hostages will be released soon. Right now, Hamas negotiators are in Egypt to negotiate for this ceasefire. And both sides, Israel and Hamas, are looking to try to get a ceasefire deal before Ramadan, which is set to start in less than 1 week.
Yes, and hopefully those hostages can be returned to their families soon. We've seen a lot of tears when other hostages were released before. Jason Perry, thank you so much for those details.
Thanks for having me.
And the U.S. is urging all Americans to depart Haiti as soon as possible after a new spate of violence over the weekend. Armed gang members overran the 2 biggest prisons in the country, freeing thousands of inmates.
Authorities in Haiti have ordered a nighttime curfew, and a 72-hour state of emergency began Sunday night. The government said it would try to track down the escaped inmates, some of whom are accused of murders and kidnappings.
Through the weekend, senior U.S. government officials remained in close contact with senior Haitian government officials and members of the international community to help stabilize the situation and to move quickly towards an enduring political solution.
The gangs have taken over entire neighborhoods in the capital Port-au-Prince and cut off Haiti's international port from the rest of the country. They're calling for the ousting of Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Henry's whereabouts are not currently known. He was last in Kenya, where he signed a deal for a possible multinational force to help restore security in Haiti. In his absence, gangs have put a chokehold on the country. Gang leader Jimmy Cherizier, known by his alias Barbecue, has been holding press conferences in which he vows to topple the Haitian political elite. He told journalists that Haitian gangs have signed a non-aggression pact to put aside their differences and depose Henry. A United Nations spokesperson told reporters on Monday that the Secretary General is deeply concerned by the rapidly deteriorating security situation.
The Secretary General also calls on the government of Haiti and other political actors to swiftly agree on the necessary steps to advance the political process towards the restoration of democratic institutions through the holding of elections.
Haiti has had no elected officials in government for over a year. The country has had no president since Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in 2021.
Still to come, German military call discussing cruise missiles for Ukraine hacked and leaked by Russia. What led to the breach and how Germany is responding.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-984-7221. That's 1-800-984-7221, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day, just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste, and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth. Without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now, Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now.
The difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one get one free offer goes away.
And now for a shift in gears, we have some short headlines from Germany and other European countries. Ukraine said today that its sea drones sank a Russian patrol ship off occupied Crimea, as Kyiv's forces continued to take aim at targets deep behind the war's front line.
The Ukrainian Military Intelligence Agency said a special operations unit destroyed the large patrol ship overnight. The Russian vessel can reportedly carry cruise missiles and around 60 crew members.
The European Commission today proposing a new $1.6 billion plan to boost its defense industry. The European Union budget for 2025 through 2027 would finance the plan.
Under the new program, the 27 member states will be invited to buy at least 40% of the defense equipment together and make sure that 35% of the defense value represents internal trade by 2030.
Russia's war in Ukraine has prompted many European countries to increase defense spending, but EU officials have argued that purely national efforts are less efficient.
European leaders are warning that the bloc must do more to protect itself instead of relying on the U.S. after a recent warning from former President Trump.
Defense budgets in all member states are rising sharply, so we should change the way that we spend. Since we want to invest more, we should invest better, which largely means investing together and investing European.
The EU is close to banning products made with forced labor. The EU Council and Parliament today reached a provisional agreement. The agreement doesn't name China specifically, but it's mainly in response to allegations of state-sponsored forced labor in Xinjiang.
And notably, the bans would not only apply to goods made outside the bloc, but also products manufactured in the EU with parts made abroad by forced labor. And the deal still needs to be formally approved before it goes into effect.
Germany's defense minister said today that the call intercepted by Russia was made on an insecure line. The defense minister said a military officer made the call while staying at a hotel in Singapore. Russia hacked the conference call before leaking it.
The leaked audio tape revealed 4 high-ranking Air Force officers discussing how Ukraine could use Taurus long-range cruise missiles against Russian forces. The fallout from the hacked conversation has increased tensions between the two countries even further.
Germany is debating whether it should supply the missiles to Kyiv. Here's Germany's defense minister.
And I signed this morning disciplinary investigations, that is, preliminary investigations against those involved in this conference. This is a normal process to gather both incriminating and exonerating information. Depending on the outcome and the result, when it is available, a decision is made as to whether or not disciplinary proceedings will be conducted.
And if you have any news tips or feedback for our show, please feel free to email us at news.today@ntd.com.
And be sure to stick around for NTD Newsroom at 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll cover more stories from the U.S. and around the world.
There are real consequences to controlled media. And NTD's founders know them firsthand. Our freedom of thought is the price. This is the lesson that guides us in everything we do.
So there's the tear gas there.
We know the value of a free society. And we take seriously the responsibility to preserve it. We are NTD.
There's something magical about the movies that I just love.
Hollywood invented America to the world in the old days.
And as a medium, it's really powerful. But for some, that power isn't used for good.
Our way of life is being censored by the Chinese Communist Party.
They said, we get a lot of our money out of China. Is there any way you could make this movie a little bit more attractive to the Chinese?
Is it really just about money? Are there other parts at stake?
I had friends in Hollywood who said, this will kill your career. You won't get funding. They're afraid of even mentioning one line.
Chinese influence was playing into what we see in U.S. films.
China said, you can't have that in there. And Hollywood listened.
This is insane. This is a joke, right?
We raised our hand and we dove right into it. But over time, all of us have been punched in the nose.
The Chinese Communist Party followed no rules.
What's at stake? The soul of the nation is at stake.
We want indoctrination access to America. They could basically take over America without firing a shot because they control access to our minds.
And we all know that their goal is global domination.
People have been brainwashed without knowing it.
What's happened to this world we're living in? Why?
For the 4 years he has been on this earth, he has known nothing but war.
Wherever I go, the things I see, I just want to turn away. The dreams I have, the stories I could tell, will they still be possible? This year, more than ever, I need a brand new world, a clean world. Where I can improve myself and be inspired. My stage can be anywhere and everywhere. But it begins here.
Ganjing World, a brighter way of life.
With fashion trends that come and go, I never thought I would wear styles from dynasties past. But what if an outfit could change a person from the outside in, transport you to a distant time, and take you to heavenly realms? Shen Yun has introduced me to the timeless couture of ancient China. Each outfit tells a story of enduring culture, from the elegance of the Han to the magnanimous Tang.
Propriety, dignity, and faith. Each dynasty's spirit lived through its attire. Hats define a man's status, while robes were made for every occasion. Collars crossed left over right, harmonizing yang over yin, and every pattern was inspired by the divine.
Whenever I step into a new pair of shoes, I see the world in a different light. The colors I wear radiate with energy as heaven and earth unite with mankind. By reviving styles that can't be found in China today, a glorious era is reborn.
But a costume is more than a set of clothes. It's a chance to become somebody else. To wear their courage, loyalty, wickedness, or compassion. Each character has a different part to play, their own legacy to leave behind. But in the end, I always change back into my own character. Myself.
And I think, what role do I want to play? Who do I want to be? A person of vice or virtue?
It was spectacular, so beautiful.
I thought I was going to heaven.
Oh, it was electric.
I'm getting chills talking about it.
It gets a 10 from me, that's for sure.
It was that good.
Absolutely marvelous.
Hands down the best show I've ever seen.
It's emotional, it's captivating, it's visual. Every single bit of your senses is engaged.
Oh my gosh, it was a riot. I didn't expect to laugh so much and also be touched so much.
I was literally looking for something which was magical, uplifting, and it was way more than that.
The music
was just so beautiful, and it really lit up the room.
And there's nothing like live music.
The combination of the music and the dancing was sometimes uplifting. You know, my toes are tapping and I want to get out of my seat. But it was also very calming.
I think it's magnificent. It's magnificent to see another part of Chinese culture that a lot of people don't get to see. And the stories are amazing. The execution, the dance is amazing.
The flips, the aerial movement, it was amazing. It wasn't anything I've ever seen before.
Absolutely perfection. There wasn't even one flaw.
I must say I'm so highly impressed with the level of the dancers, their technique, just all the concepts are absolutely wonderful.
The costumes, they were works of art.
The way they used the costumes to create part of the image, it was just absolutely mind-blowing.
I thought I was going to come to see some amazing dancing, but I learned so much about the Chinese culture.
They're actually telling you the story of their life, of their culture, of their history, and bringing it full circle so that we can see and enjoy it.
There was an encouragement to go back to that divine nature and those divine values.
This experience for me is transcendent. It was a communication to the soul and the spirit.
And I cried, I think, the whole time because it was so amazing.
It was powerful, and it is something that's needed in today's society.
People nowadays go to the doctors, the psychiatrists for pills, for antidepressants. This is the antidepressant, the best.
I knew it was going to be good. It's a billion times better than I even thought it would be.
I've heard people say, you don't want to miss this. And I would fully agree.
I'm going to tell everyone to come see it. You have to.
Definitely going to come back next year.
Totally inspirational. You have to go see this.
Everyone needs to see this.
Don't miss it.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime must-see that will change their lives forever.
The highest art is beautiful. Breathtaking, timeless, and moving. Experience art with 5,000 years of history, inspired by the divine. Experience Shen-Yun.
One in 5 children worldwide are faced with the reality of living without food. No family dinners, no special treats, not enough energy to play. All around the world, hunger is affecting children's physical and mental health. Toddlers are suffering from acute malnutrition, which stunts their growth. Kids are forced to drop out of school so they can help support their families. Conflict, inflation, and climate have ignited the worst famine in our lifetime. And we are fed up. Fed up that hunger devours dreams. Fed up that hunger destroys joy. Fed up with the fact that hunger eats childhood. Help us feed the futures of children all over the world by visiting getfedupnow.org. For as little as $10 a month, you can join Save the Children as we support children and families in desperate need of our help. Now is the time to get fed up and give back. When you join the cause, your $10 monthly donation can help communities in need of life-saving treatments and nutrients, prevent children from dropping out of school, support our work with communities and governments to help children go from short-term surviving to long-term thriving. And now, thanks to special government grants, every dollar you give can multiply up to 10 times the impact. That means more food, water, medicine, and help for kids around the world. You'll also receive a free tote bag to share your support for children in need. Having your childhood eaten away by hunger is unimaginable. Get fed up. Call us now or visit getfedupnow.org.
I'm Steve Lance. Join me live for special coverage of the 2024 State of the Union Address and the Republican response. A crisis on the southern border, inflation soaring, and global conflicts threatening the free world. President Biden's job approval more consequential than ever this election year. Join us Thursday, March 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on NTD News.
Hi, I'm Kelly Wright. We thank you for joining us and watching America's Hope here on NTD News. Bottom line is, I know you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, but let's give you some good news in the midst of the bad news. Watch us nightly, right here on NTD News, for a full dose of America's Hope.
Welcome to NTD News Today.
Here are our top stories.
Polling stations are opening in states across the nation. What former President Trump and President Biden are saying about Super Tuesday.
And NTD's Jack Bradley is in Virginia talking to voters to see which candidates they're supporting and the top issues they care about.
The Georgia Senate committee investigating District Attorney Fani Willis subpoenas the defense attorney for a co-defendant of former President Trump. It's the latest in a controversy that could see Willis removed from Trump's election case.
A former Chinese executive is demanding that first son Hunter Biden return $1 million given to him for legal services. Find out why.
Beijing boosting military spending by over 7%. What's the regime leadership's latest hint on Taiwan as its most important meeting of the year goes on?
The U.S. National Symphony Orchestra performs in Milan on its first European tour in nearly a decade. A conductor's centuries-old Italian-made instruments take center stage.
This is NTD News Today, live from our NTD Global Headquarters. Here are Stephania Cox and Chris Beers.
Hi, I'm Kevin Hogan sitting in for Chris Beers today.
And to begin this show, social media giant Meta is experiencing a worldwide outage.
Users are unable to access Meta's services such as Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger.
The outage appears to have hit shortly after 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It's affecting both the apps and the websites of Meta's social media platforms.
Users began noticing the problem when they were logged out of their accounts and unable to log back in.
According to Down Detector, a website that monitors online outages, over 200,000 U.S. users reported outages. Over 30,000 users reported outages with Instagram.
A Meta official posted on X saying, quote, "We're aware people are having trouble accessing our services. We are working on this now."
And it's Super Tuesday today, and all eyes are on the presidential candidates. But there are also lots of other races lower on the ballot. NTD's Daniel Monahan has more on several key Senate, House, and gubernatorial contests across various states.
In California, candidates will vie for an open Senate seat left after Senator Dianne Feinstein's exit. But the primaries for the House in the state, where Republicans are defending a razor-thin majority, are by far the most important for the balance of power in Washington. Democrats need a net gain of 4 seats to flip the House. And in California alone, the party is targeting 7 GOP-held seats. In Texas, a showdown is brewing in the Democratic primary over who will challenge Senator Ted Cruz. Cruz won by just 3 points in 2018, which leads some to believe tides could be shifting in the Lone Star State. In the same state, House Speaker Dade Phelan faces challenges after his involvement in the impeachment effort against State Attorney General Ken Paxton. The race for governor in North Carolina has caught people's attention. With term-limited Democratic Governor Roy Cooper on his way out, all eyes are on who will win his chair. Alabama's GOP primary features incumbent Congress members Jerry Carl and Barry Moore in the 1st District. They're now in the same district after a court-ordered redistricting. California Congressman David Valadao is one of only 2 left in Congress who voted to impeach Trump. He faces potential challenges in a primary for the 22nd District. And North Carolina's Attorney General primary sees House Freedom Caucus member Representative Dan Bishop facing off against Representative Jeff Jackson running for the open seat. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
And polls have already opened in several states. Voting will continue throughout the day until polls begin to close starting from 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Voters in Virginia began filling out ballots as soon as polls opened at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Virginia is an open primary state that allows registered voters to participate in either primary.
And in many other states like North Carolina, primaries are open to unaffiliated voters. That could boost Haley's results. She has relative strength with independent voters compared to Trump.
Trump posted on Truth Social, Super Tuesday, a really big deal. Please get out and vote.
Biden posted on X, if you're in a Super Tuesday state or territory, polls are starting to open. Now is the time to make your voice heard.
And here with us to discuss Super Tuesday is Dr. Nathaniel Cogley, Associate Professor of Political Science at Tarleton State University. Welcome, Nathaniel. Now, which states do you think we should be watching tonight and why?
Thanks for having me. Usually on a Super Tuesday, we're more focused on the delegate math for the presidential nominations. It's just this cycle, the delegate math is already falling in line for former President Trump and President Biden. So we're kind of looking at Super Tuesday with some other focus. Number one could be the general election, in which case we're very interested in exit polls to see kind of demographic patterns in support and if that's changed. President Trump has been improving his numbers with African Americans and Hispanics and young voters, and you'll be able to get some very good exit polls to see if those trends continue, especially in North Carolina, Virginia, and Minnesota, which are not necessarily swing states, but plausibly competitive in the general election. The other thing that you already set up was there's races on the ballot that aren't the presidency. We have Senate races in California and Texas, also some close House races in California and Texas, where the balance of the House and Senate are also very close and could go either way in the upcoming election.
Yeah, and I want to come back to some of those other contests that are happening today, but in regards to the general election, President Biden has fared less well in recent polls in a general matchup. And there is also, of course, speculation about perhaps Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama swooping in at the last minute. What do you say to the potential for that to happen, considering how poorly he's faring right now?
Well, it has the potential. I mean, just based on life expectancy, there's a potential here. You know, the Democrats will have their convention this summer where they officially choose their nominee. Joe Biden being in his 80s, there's a life expectancy question. There's also the question of if his numbers aren't good, he could voluntarily drop out. But that's what the Democratic convention is for. And if Biden goes into that convention with enough delegates to win, but turns out he's not going to be a candidate after all come the convention, they'll have to come up with an alternative. And we haven't really had a competitive convention since the 60s. But that's what the convention is for. In modern day, conventions have turned into kind of infomercials, but actually the convention is where that can be sorted out with multiple rounds.
Right, and looking back at the Senate and House races, what in particular do you think we should be watching for, and why for those?
Well, the California Senate race is very interesting. As you said, this was Dianne Feinstein's seat. Odds are another Democrat's going to hold it, but you have a very interesting candidate in Steve Garvey, 10-time All-Star Major League player as a Republican, and he played for the Dodgers and Padres his whole career. So he has celebrity status down there. He's going to appeal to average person with name recognition and sports fans. So to see if Garvey is going to be in the top two and thus on their general election ballot in November is interesting. The Senate race in Texas is interesting because it was close 6 years ago for Cruz, although Texas has not been as close as of late. But you also have a number of House seats of interest. So California has some House seats that are naturally close. You know, the close ones in 2022 will be close again. Texas has 2 close House seats. But we've also seen some members of Congress retire, in which case it might not be a close district, but the question of who's the nominee from the party that's strong in that district is still up for grabs today.
And of course, looking back at the presidential contest with Nikki Haley against former President Trump, it could be a decisive moment for Haley's campaign. But considering her rhetoric so far, as well as her donors and where she stands with the voters. Do you expect her to stand down at this point, or what are you looking at for Haley?
I've been surprised that she's still in it. She does not have a path forward. Governor DeSantis was the most credible challenger, and he said he doesn't have a path forward. It's been kind of peculiar why she's still plugging away at it. She could pick up a small amount of delegates today, but it's going to be overwhelming victory in delegates for President Trump. Some people are noting that she is actually in her home state of South Carolina today, which does not have a Super Tuesday primary, and that might be the right place to bow out of the race. But why she continues to run, it would be a non-political motive, with some other relationships that aren't political in nature.
Oh, that's an interesting point there about where she's settled down for the day, for this very important day. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Thank you so much, Dr. Nathaniel Cogley, Associate Professor of Political Science at Tarleton State University.
Thank you.
For more on today's primaries, NTD News will be covering all the action. We have a lot prepared for you, including special guests, on-the-ground coverage, and the Data Hub. Join Steve Lance and Tiffany Meyer on The Nation Decides 2024 live tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern.
And up ahead, one person was killed and several injured when a fire broke out at a warehouse in a Detroit suburb. Police say explosions sent debris as far away as a mile.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
They're just young people, hungry, homeless, and vulnerable. Abused youth often feel safer on the street. Now, more than ever, that's the most dangerous place of all. Covenant House is helping young adults facing homelessness. We're providing safe shelter to thousands, but the need is overwhelming, and no young person is ever turned away. Please call or go online now with your gift of $19 a month to help a young person. You'll provide safe shelter, hot meals, and medical care. Your gift will show them they're loved. Homeless young people are afraid and alone with nowhere else to turn.
You want to know that there's somewhere you can go that's safe. So the Covenant House did that for us.
Please call now with your gift of $19 a month. We'll send you this blanket as a reminder of the comfort your gift provides a young person tonight. Please don't wait. Your gift is the lifeline a young person needs now. Call the number on your screen or go online to safeplacetosleep.org. Thank you for saving precious lives.
Imagine a coffee that cares for your health. Expertly fermented with a 50 enzyme complex to enhance flavor and remove bitterness. Small batch roasted to a decadent medium dark, resulting in a brew that is gentle on digestion, low acid, and up to 90% less caffeine than regular coffee. Try America's first enzyme fermented coffee today.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. Ready! That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back. A new witness has come forward regarding the special prosecutor in the Georgia election case. District Attorney Cindy Lee Yeager is prepared to testify that Nathan Wade lied about the timeline of his relationship with Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis.
Wade says the relationship started in 2022, but Yeager asserts it actually started in 2019. This discrepancy raises questions about the integrity of the prosecutor's appointment and his handling of Trump's case.
In a court filing on Monday, attorneys for Trump co-defendant David Schaefer stated that Yeager discussed conversations she had with Terrence Bradley, who was Wade's former divorce attorney. Yeager asserts that Bradley revealed the earlier beginning of the relationship between Willis and Wade.
And on a different tack, first son Hunter Biden back in the spotlight over payments he allegedly received from China. The younger Biden reportedly got $1 million from Chinese firm CEFC for legal representation of its employee, Dr. Patrick Ho, who now wants it back. Ho is threatening legal action again unless reimbursed, claiming Biden provided no legal services.
A letter from Ho's law firm demands termination of the attorney-client agreement and repayment within 7 days.
Funds were transferred from CEFC China to a joint venture firm, Hudson West III, and then to Hunter Biden's private firm, Owasco.
Ho was convicted for bribery in 2019. He served a 3-year sentence before being deported to Hong Kong.
And now turning our eyes back to the ongoing presidential primaries. Virginia is one of more than a dozen states where voters will cast their ballots today.
Our reporter Jack Bradley is there. Jack, what's the situation right now?
Hey guys, yeah, over here in Arlington, Virginia, voters are casting their votes here, and at this precinct, Virginia is an open primary, so voters can vote in either the Republican or Democratic presidential primaries, but not both. Now, it is a swing state, so it's a very competitive place. And earlier I spoke to some voters about who they voted for and what were the top issues to them. Let's take a look.
I voted in the Republican primary for Nikki Haley. It's time for a woman to be elected president.
Joe Biden. I don't want to say it's the best of all the people out there and they're all bad choices, because I think he's a very effective president and a very effective leader.
I vote for Donald Trump. We need to stop the censorship, we need to return to a free market, and we need to stop the war.
As far as the war in Ukraine and Israel, how concerned are you about them?
Very concerned. I think that NATO is escalating the war in the Ukraine, and it's just costing lives, and it's only being powered by censoring speech on the subject. I'm deeply disturbed by it.
I voted for Nikki Haley today. I think America's ready for first woman president. Foreign policy, I think she's a diplomat. I mean, that's her calling, her career. She was a governor, which I really believe in. You know, that path to the presidency, I think it's a good one. I think we've seen that in history. I think also on social issues, we don't always align. I'm a little bit more Democrat leaning in those areas, but I think generally she's the best candidate right now that we have.
I voted for Nikki Haley.
Yeah, how come?
I think Nikki Haley would be, we need new leadership, and I think that she would be a better choice than the likely other options that we have. And I think that there's a lot of international conflict going on, and the world is in a worse place. So yes, we absolutely need somebody who's going to be strong to be able to protect our interests and around the world.
On the Republican Party, I was disappointed to see the full list of names still on it. I wish it was reduced to who's actually running, and that would be Donald Trump. Do I agree with all of his personal choices that he's made? No, but the policies of making America great, putting America forward versus all the other countries is very important, and what he's done in the past as number 45 has been great, and now with number 46 we are not so great times, and it's being a harder life for us. So I want to go back to a good life and make America great again.
Virginia has about 6 million registered voters here, and it's been leaning more Democratic in recent years, but that trend was disrupted in 2021 when they voted for Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin, although he was seen by many as distancing himself from Donald Trump. We'll be out here all day in Virginia, and we'll bring you the latest here. Polls close at 7 p.m.
Big day for the election. Thank you so much, Jack. And a massive fire broke out at a suburban Detroit warehouse yesterday, causing multiple explosions and killing one person. Police in Clinton Township say the explosions sent debris as far as a mile away. One 19-year-old died after being struck by a flying canister, and a firefighter was injured by an exploding canister. Police say a bystander also suffered minor injuries.
Authorities are investigating the cause of the fire. Emergency services urged residents to stay indoors late Monday due to unknown health effects from the smoke. Clinton County Fire Chief Tim Duncan said this morning that there was no danger to the community.
The Supreme Court has temporarily frozen enforcement of the controversial immigration law in Texas until at least next week. NTD's Daniel Monahan has more on the ruling and its implications.
Monday's decision comes after the Biden administration filed an emergency application with the High Court earlier in the day to try to block the law from taking effect. Texas Senate Bill 4 was signed into law in December by Governor Greg Abbott. It allows state law enforcement to arrest and detain people they suspect of entering the country illegally. It would also let state judges order people to leave the country, with prison sentences up to 20 years for those who refuse to comply. Abbott and other state officials blame President Biden for a record increase in illegal migration. After the High Court issued its order, Abbott posted a video on X showing new border wall construction underway, writing, "We will use every tool and strategy to secure our border until President Biden fulfills his constitutional duty to enforce federal immigration laws already on the books." Immigration advocates have criticized the law, citing their fears of increased racial profiling in Texas, where Latinos represent 40% of the population. The Supreme Court's temporary pause will hold until March 13th, instead of the law going into effect on March 10th. This break now gives the court additional time to review the case. Last week, a federal judge in Texas blocked the state from implementing the law. In his ruling, he wrote that allowing the Texas measure to take effect could open the gates for other states to pass their own versions of immigration law. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
And a new ruling yesterday on cross-sex procedures, including hormones and body-altering surgeries. The U.S. District Court in North Dakota ruled against the Biden administration's requirement for religious organizations and healthcare providers to cover such procedures. The Alliance Defending Freedom represented the Christian Employers Alliance in the case. It challenged the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's interpretation of Title VII, which prohibits employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. It also challenged the administration's argument that sex includes gender identity.
The court found that these mandates would impose significant financial penalties on organizations holding sincere religious beliefs, constituting a substantial burden. The Christian Employers Alliance hailed the ruling, emphasizing the importance of preserving religious freedom.
And the FAA says they've found multiple quality control issues at Boeing following a 6-week audit. The audit came after the in-flight door plug blowout on an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 in January.
The FAA gave Boeing 90 days to produce a quality improvement plan to fix the issues and address their findings. Boeing did not immediately comment on the FAA's most recent statement, but in January, CEO David Calhoun conceded that Boeing needs to improve its quality controls. As polling stations open in California, Governor Gavin Newsom is campaigning for a ballot measure that aims to address homelessness. It would be the first major update to the state's mental health system in 20 years.
What Proposition 1 does is it advances the resources to address the number one issue, the most vexing issue of all, and that's the issue of housing. We need to stabilize people. We need to deal with the underlying reasons they're out on the streets and sidewalks in the first place.
Proposition 1 is on today's ballot in California. It would boost investments in housing and programs for homeless people with serious mental illness or substance abuse problems.
The measure would restrict how counties use money from a tax enacted on millionaires that currently is earmarked for mental health services.
Proposition 1 also would authorize the state to borrow over $6 billion to build over 4,000 housing units. Half of those would be reserved for veterans. The state plans to add 6,800 mental health and addiction treatment beds.
Social providers say they are worried the new proposition would threaten programs that are keeping people from becoming homeless in the first place.
Coming up, California voters are joining in Super Tuesday's primaries and a host of other local and state races. NTD's Arian Pazdar joins us now live from one of those voting sites.
And the European Commission proposes a $1.6 billion plan to boost its defense industry. It's part of the bloc's efforts to protect itself in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That story coming up.
One of the biggest days in the race for nominee is coming soon. Voters decide who'll face off this November, and we'll be covering all of it. The Nation Decides 2024 Super Tuesday with Steve Lance and Tiffany Meyer, live on March 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern on NTD News.
Did you know the government can essentially rob you in plain sight? Former Fed Chair Alan Greenspan warned, deficit spending is simply a scheme for the confiscation of wealth. But he added, gold stands in the way of this insidious process. Birch Gold Group has helped thousands of Americans diversify their IRA or 401k into gold. To get a free info kit from Birch Gold, text PREPARE to 989898. Again, text PREPARE to 989898 right now.
We are only 80 years removed from countries that killed 60 to 70 million people intentionally. And we have people being like, oh, it can't happen here. Yeah, it can, and it might.
These people, they're not interested in the facts. They're not interested in anything except crushing people that are in their way.
There needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members.
A strong church can stop this.
Hi, I'm Caleb, and this is my story. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me. I love to bike ride, climb, race, and I'm learning how to stand and walk. But I can only do all of this because of generous people like you and Shriners Hospitals for Children.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children has helped more than 1.3 million kids just like me, regardless of their family's ability to pay.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is only able to provide this world-class, life-changing medical care because of the generous gifts of people just like you.
Because of you, I can ride my bike. I can play basketball.
Because of people like you, I can run.
I can smile.
Will you send your love to the rescue today?
When you go to loveshriners.org right now and give just 63 cents a day, you're helping kids just like me.
Like me. Like me.
When you give today, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of the love you gave to a kid just like me.
Your gift, no matter how small, can help a child today.
This is your moment to make a difference.
When you pick up your phone, I know you have it right there, and call to give. You're helping kids like me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, please call again or give right away at loveshriners.org.
Your gift makes a difference. Thank you for giving.
Election volunteers on the West Coast have opened their polling sites by now, meaning Super Tuesday voting has officially kicked off in states across the country.
NTD's Arian Pazdar joins us now live from one of those voting sites in Los Angeles. What can you tell us?
Yeah, hello, Kevin, or good morning, I should say. It is still early out here in California. It is 9:30 a.m. right now, and people are voting already here at this beautiful church, which is serving as a voting center today. Now, we have been here for around 70 minutes and we did see a steady flow of people coming and going to vote. Now, it is not clear if we will see these huge voting lines out here in LA today as we did in the past. One election volunteer actually told me he's expecting less turnout today than he did like 4 years ago, for example. He says that is because more people are now making use of mail-in ballots and also of early voting. So we'll have to wait and see how this develops throughout the day. Now, I did get the chance to speak to some of the voters here in LA close to Santa Monica last night. Let's take a look at what they told me.
I don't understand why they would give illegal immigrants free health care. And me as a taxpayer, why wouldn't I get it? During Trump's presidency, the world was in peace for 4 years. No wars.
A lot of people might not talk about being a Republican because they're afraid that they're going to be ambushed.
Would you say that's even more so the case in LA, being afraid of?
Absolutely.
What do you make of the border situation right now, given how close LA is to the southern border?
It is terrifying. I have 3 kids. I mean, after dark, I'm afraid as to where they are.
Now, the people you just saw, and actually all the other ones I spoke with here in LA last night, told me that they're voting Republican. Guys?
Right. Arian, and you were in San Diego earlier this week, correct? Did you get to talk to some voters down there as well?
That's right, Steph. I was in San Diego, and you know, interesting enough, I saw more Democratic voters in San Diego than I did in LA so far. Now, you know, this might change. I will, of course, talk to more people as the day continues. But for now, let's take a look at what the people in San Diego told me about why they are voting Democrat this year.
Honestly, I don't like Biden, but I don't like Trump either, too. It's just like kind of what we were handed. Like, I don't know how it ended up with these 2 people, the people that we have to pick from. But again, I feel like just in terms of like the parties, I think more stuff that I align with would be blue compared to red. So I think that's probably where I'll end up leaning towards, even though I don't really like the candidate that's Democrat, you know.
The Republicans on the issue of the border poll better than the Democrats, and they want to continue to have a border problem that will help them in the elections, which I think is a very harmful thing to do.
So again, guys, it is still early out here in Los Angeles. It is 9:30 a.m. and I will keep you updated throughout the day. As you know, we will have a special coverage tonight starting at 6 p.m. Eastern all the way to midnight. So I will bring you live updates right here from Los Angeles, California. Back to you guys.
Thanks for the update, Arian.
And the U.S. is urging all Americans to depart Haiti as soon as possible after a new spate of violence over the weekend. Armed gang members overran the 2 biggest prisons in the country, freeing thousands of inmates.
Authorities in Haiti have ordered a nighttime curfew, and a 72-hour state of emergency began Sunday night. The government said it would try to track down the escaped inmates, some of whom are accused of murders and kidnappings.
Through the weekend, senior U.S. government officials remained in close contact with senior Haitian government officials and members of the international community to help stabilize the situation and to move quickly towards an enduring political solution.
The gangs have taken over entire neighborhoods in the capital Port-au-Prince and cut off Haiti's international port from the rest of the country. They're calling for the ousting of Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Henry's whereabouts are not currently known. He was last in Kenya, where he signed a deal for a possible multinational force to help restore security in Haiti. In his absence, gangs have put a chokehold on the country. Gang leader Jimmy Cherizier, known by his alias Barbecue, has been holding press conferences in which he vows to topple the Haitian political elite. He told journalists that Haitian gangs have signed a non-aggression pact to put aside their differences and depose Henry. A United Nations spokesperson told reporters on Monday that the Secretary General is deeply concerned by the rapidly deteriorating security situation.
The Secretary General also calls on the government of Haiti and other political actors to swiftly agree on the necessary steps to advance the political process towards the restoration of democratic institutions through the holding of elections.
Haiti has had no elected officials in government for over a year. The The country has had no president since Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in 2021.
In Vietnam, a trial began today in the country's largest financial fraud case on record. Some are at risk of getting the death penalty.
Nearly 90 defendants are accused of being part of a $12 billion scam. At the center of the trial is Trong My Lan, chairwoman of real estate developer Van Tin Phat Holdings Group.
Trong and her accomplices are accused of siphoning off billions from the country's largest bank by Asset's Saigon Joint Stock Commercial Bank.
Investigators say Trong effectively controlled the bank through dozens of proxies. The trial comes as part of a wider anti-graft campaign by Vietnam's Communist Party.
The campaign has led in recent months to multiple high-profile arrests and the resignation of top figures. This trial is expected to involve thousands of testimonies and last until the end of April.
And a warning sign for Taiwan. Beijing saying today that it would boost its defense spending by 7.2% this year. Also in China's most important political meetings of the year, China's premier didn't use the words peaceful reunification when describing Taiwan, and that's different from last year's language. The Chinese regime sees Taiwan as part of China despite never having ruled the island. Beijing has pledged to take control of Taiwan by force if necessary.
China's over $200 billion military budget is now the world's second highest, trailing right behind the United States. Even though its economic growth has slowed since 2015, China's defense budget has more than doubled. Reacting to the news, Japan urged Beijing to be more open, and a spokesperson warned of serious international concerns.
And now for a shift in gears, we have some short headlines from Germany and other European countries. Ukraine said today that its sea drones sank a Russian patrol ship off occupied Crimea, as Kyiv's forces continued to take aim at targets deep behind the war's front line.
The Ukrainian military intelligence agency said a special operations unit destroyed the large patrol ship overnight. The Russian vessel can reportedly carry cruise missiles and around 60 crew members.
The European Commission today proposing a new $1.6 billion plan to boost its defense industry. The European Union budget for 2025 through 2027 would finance the plan.
Under the new program, the 27 member states will be invited to buy at least 40% of defense equipment together and make sure that 35% of the defense value represents internal trade by 2030.
Russia's war in Ukraine has prompted many European countries to increase defense spending, but EU officials have argued that purely national efforts are less efficient.
European leaders are warning that the bloc must do more to protect itself instead of relying on the U.S. after a recent warning from former President Trump.
Defense budgets in all member states are rising sharply, so we should change the way that we spend. Since we want to invest more, we should invest better, which largely means investing together and investing European.
And the EU is close to banning products made with forced labor. The EU Council and Parliament today reached a provisional agreement. The agreement doesn't name China specifically, but it's mainly in response to allegations of state-sponsored forced labor in Xinjiang.
And notably, the bans would not only apply to goods made outside the bloc, but also products manufactured in the EU with parts made abroad by forced labor. The deal still needs to be formally approved before it goes into effect.
Fallout over a German military call about Ukraine that was hacked and leaked by Russia. Germany's defense minister said today that the call was made on an insecure line. A military officer made the call while staying at a hotel in Singapore.
The leaked audio tape revealed 4 high-ranking Air Force officers discussing how Ukraine could use Taurus long-range cruise missiles against Russian forces.
Germany is debating whether it should supply the missiles to Kyiv. The call highlights growing tension between military officials and the chancellor, who so far refused to send them. Here's Germany's defense minister addressing the matter.
And I signed this morning disciplinary investigations, that is, preliminary investigations against those involved in this conference. This is a normal process to gather both incriminating and exonerating information. Depending on the outcome and the result, when it is available, a decision is made as to whether or not disciplinary proceedings will be conducted.
Coming up, Spanish retirees in a rural area form a choir. Then they fulfill their dream to perform at one of the world's most iconic locations.
And the U.S. National Symphony Orchestra performs in Milan. A conductor's centuries-old Italian-made instruments take center stage. More shortly here on NTD News Today.
I'm Steve Lance. Join me live for special coverage of the 2024 State of the Union address and the Republican response. A crisis on the southern border, inflation soaring, and global conflicts threatening the free world. President Biden's job approval more consequential than ever this election year. Join us Thursday, March 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on NTD News.
Hi, I'm Susan Lucci. I never thought about heart disease until I had my own heart event. I had heard many times that heart disease is the #1 killer. It went in one ear and out the other, frankly. I never had a health issue. I felt this slight pressure on my chest, just slight. But a few days later, while shopping at a boutique, that pressure returned, much stronger. By the time I got to the ER, the doctor decided to give me a CAT scan. He said, "I don't think you understand. You are on the verge of a heart attack." I had a 90% blockage in my main artery and a 75% blockage in the adjacent artery. I received 2 stents in my arteries, stents developed through research funded by the American Heart Association. Those stents saved my life. That's why I'm in front of you today, asking you to join me in supporting the American Heart Association by becoming a monthly donor. Call now or go to helpheart.org. For only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, your support now can help save your life or the life of someone you love. With you by our side, together we'll keep fighting this battle. Give $19 a month with your credit card, and we'll send you this special t-shirt that you can wear to show that you are helping save lives. I'm so grateful to the American Heart Association. Their research helped save my life. Put yourself on your to-do list. It could be the most important thing you ever do. Please, listen to your heart. The only reason I'm here today is because I did. So please call the number on your screen or go to helpheart.org now. Join me as a monthly donor today and help save even more lives. Thank you.
My dad's name was David. He always talked about getting life insurance, and now it's too late.
No one was expecting my husband Dave to suffer from a heart attack. We didn't have life insurance. We thought we had more time.
Don't be Dave, and don't wait until it's too late to get the life insurance coverage you need. And if you don't have enough insurance to cover funeral costs, credit card debt, and other expenses, your family is going to get stuck with the bill. Call now to get affordable life insurance.
Just call 800-494-1562.
If you're over 50, you can't be turned down for this insurance, regardless of your health. Plus, there's no medical exam, no health questions. Your rate will never go up. Your coverage will never go down. And rates start as low as $5 a week. Remember, don't be Dave. Call now.
Call now. 800-494-1562.
Welcome back. A group of Spanish retirees in one of Europe's least populated areas have fulfilled their dream to sing at the Vatican. Earlier this month, the 21-member choir performed during Mass at the heart of the Christian world. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more on their St. Peter's Basilica debut.
The Fuente Armejil Choir was created to promote cultural life in this rural village of the same name in central Spain. Choir master and conductor Hector Diaz-Berzosa came up with the idea while visiting the Vatican as a teacher. It was then that he noticed choir performances during some masses.
I have been to the Vatican as a teacher a few times, and I saw that choir singing there during some masses, and that is when I thought that I had to take my guys to sing there because it could be a very exciting moment after the pandemic.
Fuente Armejil is a tiny village with less than 200 inhabitants. Houses, barns, and fields surround the local church. Choir rehearsals are the social highlight of the week for most.
Apart from making us happy, this gives us a chance to showcase the voices of these often forgotten and abandoned lands. To have an opportunity like this is very exciting.
Lucia Sierra Puente enjoys the social atmosphere and camaraderie the choir offers.
It's good for me because after the rehearsal we get together and chat about one thing or another. And if we want, we can go to the TV social club. We don't go every day, of course, but yes, we talk about everything. It's like, how can I say, a village social outing. We are all going to be there and chit-chat about everything.
For choir member Fermin Cabrerizo and Cabo, performing at the Vatican was the chance of a lifetime.
I'm very happy, totally euphoric. My heart doesn't fit in my body when I say that I'm going to Rome. I'm taking my wife so that she sees it, and my children and my grandchildren can say, our father went to Rome and he sang in the Vatican. It's really big.
Berzosa says the experience left the choir in awe.
We are very excited. There have been many tears, a lot of emotion. Our dream came true. We don't have more words. A true wonder to have sung here in the greatest church in the world, in the center of Christianity.
And Cabo was equally emotional about the opportunity for the choir to perform at St. Peter's Basilica.
I'm very excited. I'm so moved I could cry. Many people came, more than 400 or 500, or even 4,000 people. It was an extraordinary experience. How wonderful. What a cathedral. Such beautiful times.
Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
And centuries-old Italian-made instruments took center stage at Milan's Teatro alla Scala. The U.S. National Symphony Orchestra's conductor loaned the musicians his personal collection of historic instruments for the performance. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the details.
Conductor Jean-Andrea Noseda has been working to infuse the American orchestra with his Italian influence, so he has loaned his musicians 9 stringed instruments. 7 violins, 1 viola, and 1 cello made by Italian master luthiers dating from 1686 through 1835.
It's difficult to find a musician who owns a Stradivari. At least I don't recollect in my memory. Always a Stradivari belonged to a bank, to a foundation, to a collector.
Noseda began loaning the instruments over a decade ago.
I began this program 12, 13 years ago, and was my way to give back a bit of what music gave me. And with this gesture, I motivate players in the orchestra who receive these instruments.
The historic instruments were a highlight of the U.S. National Symphony Orchestra's recent performance at Teatro alla Scala in Milan. Principal second violinist Marissa Regni has been playing a Santo Serafin violin made in Venice in 1725. She explains the instrument's unique sound.
This is a very sweet sounding instrument under the ear. So under the ear it's not as loud as my French instrument, but it's just got a very sweet but also just very rich, luscious sound at the same time.
Violinist Derek Powell has been playing an instrument owned by an attorney who lived just steps from La Scala. He appreciates the violin's historical connection to the area.
It's a Presenda violin from Torino, made in 1840. The previous owner of the instrument lived right around the corner from La Scala, less than 100 meters. He was a lawyer in town and a great amateur violinist and a great music lover.
The orchestra's energetic performance at La Scala in late February marked an emotional highlight of its 9-city European tour. It was the group's first in nearly a decade. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Tired of political news and looking for a change of pace? Well, great news. NTD TV's first entertainment program premieres March 10th. Host Ruby Lovell will bring you glamour and substance from the entertainment capital, Los Angeles. This is your go-to source for all things Hollywood.
Tune in for the first episode of Right On LA with Ruby Lovell this Sunday, March 10th, starting at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on NTD News.
And that's all for today's news.
Thank you for tuning in.
Feel free to reach out to us with news tips or feedback at news.today@ntd.com.
And be sure to stick around for NTD Newsroom at 3 p.m. Eastern with Steph here. We'll have more coverage for you and those stories from the U.S. and around the world.
That's right.